Some days just make your blood boil. And for me, today was one of those days, so I need to talk to you about it. So I heard this concept that I have adopted into my regular life, and I think it's going to help you. And it's called bottom and top 10% of days. And the concept is super simple. If you take 100 days of your life at random, on average, 50 of those are going to be higher and 50% are going to be lower than the average. Why? Because if you have 100 days, half are higher, half are lower. And if you live your whole life, half your days are going to be above 50% and half are going to be below. And there's going to be a top 10% of days and a bottom 10% of days. And just going off the basic math, you should have a bottom 10% day roughly 3 times a month. And some months more, and other months might be less, but on average, that's how much. Which means in a week, most weeks, you're going to have a day that's one of your bottom 10% days, and also one of your days that's your top 10% days. But sometimes you also are going to have days that might be in the bottom 1% of days. And for me, yesterday was that day. It was emotionally a rough day, and so many things just went wrong. And I need to talk about it and share this concept, and hopefully it can help just one other person. So here's how the day started. I woke up at 5:15. I was feeling kind of anxious, so just kind of restless. I couldn't seem to get my head right, but I did some work anyway. I worked from 5:15 till about 6:15, and then I got ready. I drove up to Salt Lake, which is about 30 minutes north of where I live. So 30 minutes in the car, 35, 40 minutes in the car commuting. I got to the location or the office, and I started working there, and I was working until about 1. And then at 1 o'clock, I mean, it was a tough, good, effective time working with my boss and a new hire, and it was great, but it wasn't easy, and it was mentally kind of draining because it took lots of focus and energy. And I'd woken up early, I'd been focusing the whole time, and just I think just a normal thing where unless you've built up a tolerance, you need to take a little bit of time to separate yourself to have that space. Anyway, I started to drive back. So I had to stop, I got some gas. Then I had to stop at the store to get a few things. But the main thing I wanted, which was this Fairlife protein drink, and they're amazing, they're so good, they were out of them. And that frustrated me. It's like a little thing, but whatever. I had also had to turn in my phone because I upgraded my phone, and this is a trade in. So I went to the Verizon store and I said, hey, I got to complete this trade. And they said, oh, we're not a corporate store. You got to go to one of these like special locations where you can do it. Okay, that's annoying, but whatever. What can I do? I go to the store and hey, I got to do this trade, and they say, oh, you can't. You're not a manager. And I said, oh well, like what can I do? How can I complete this trade? And well, you got to have this person like set you up. Well, I can do it, but the account owner lives in. They're currently in Europe, and it's like 10 p.m. there because it was 2 p.m. where I live, and Europe for me is 8 hours ahead in Central European time. Anyway, long story short, I couldn't get it upgraded then. So I left and I went to the original location that we went to. And I finally was able to do the trade in after like talking through them, and okay, we knew you had come in and gotten the phone here, so we can accept it. And it was kind of like just a frustrating whole experience. There's some nuance there where I was like in the place on the phone with the account owner, like they're on the phone. Like if I can't do it right now, tell them what to do, what to press in the app, or to like FaceTime. Can they? Just trying to find a solution. It was just a haggle, and one of those things that's not like a huge deal, but in the time it's annoying and it's frustrating. So I start to drive home, and as I'm getting home, I'm about a mile away, and I'm driving just kind of mindlessly. Okay, busy day. It's about 4 p.m. and I'm just getting home, and all of a sudden my check engine light comes on. And this is the moment where after a buildup of just emotional, like you've been focusing at work, maybe you've had some personal things go on, some family stuff that came up during earlier in the day for me, and I was ready to kind of check out for a little bit and have a break. And I just start laughing because I didn't know what else to do. Of course, on a day like today, my check engine light is going to go on. And to note, I have a 120,000 mile 2008 rebuilt Kia car. It's not special, and the check engine light going on is, oh, this is a time bomb. This was inevitable, and of course it's going to happen now. And it was a culmination of all these emotions that just like laughed. I couldn't stop. It such a weird experience when these outbursts of emotions lead you to do something, so just like laugh, or some people will just cry, or some people will just and any other mixture of emotions where it hits you like a wall. And because of all these things that have happened, you end up just letting go, in a sense, with whatever that emotion is. So I sat there laughing, and afterward I stopped and I thought, this is probably one of my bottom 1% days. I feel safe to say, if I look at all the days that I've had this year, this is definitely like bottom five, probably bottom 1% of days that I've had. And that's okay. And in the weirdest way, once I allowed myself to, hey, this is not a perfect day, and you've had more things go wrong, and you've been more fatigued and tired, and you've still gotten stuff done. And you know what? It's a bottom 1% day. It somehow made the day so much better to just accept, oh, well, yeah, of course I'm going to have bad days because half of the days of my life are going to be below average and half will be above. And if this one's below, then all right, that means I'm going to have something that's equally the other direction, because there's always a middle, and that's how life is. And if you feel like you've had tons and tons of lower percentage days, well, maybe your standard right now is a little bit lower, and that's your middle, that's your average, and it could go up, it could go down, but you can do things to change that. Anyway, this perspective has helped me a ton as I had an emotionally draining day, to just sit back and laugh as my check engine light goes on, and just say, you know what, it's a bottom 1% day, and that's okay. And in the same thing, in the same line, if you have a top 1% day, you should recognize that and enjoy those, because they're only going to happen on average one in every 100 days, or 3.5 times a year. So they're special, and enjoy them when you have them. Anyway, I hope this perspective helps somebody of taking a difficult day, or a great day, or a mediocre day, or an average, or a semi good day, to put it into perspective of, we are here on this earth, and whatever religion or thing you believe, we for sure have good and bad moments, and it's okay to recognize those and to let them be what they are, without trying to force something, and just, in short, enjoy your life. And whatever perspective allows you that enjoyment and that freedom, that's what you should follow, because in the end, nobody can tell you how you should feel about the days that you experience or the things that happen. It's only you. And I hope this helps. If it does, or maybe it doesn't, and you have additional thoughts, let me know below. I think you're awesome. See ya.